Hi everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and we are doing the video response tag, Why Do You Tarot? By Brian Cormack Carr. And I will link his video in the description box. And we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. So the first question is, how did tarot come into my life? Well, I have always been a very curious child. My mother would take me to the library as young as I could remember, like weekly. And I would check out books on astrology, on tarot, on how to read with playing cards, how to read with tea leaves, how to do palmistry. I was always fascinated with it. My mom would not buy me a tarot card deck, so I used playing cards. I used postcards. Postcards were like my original or first oracle cards, or dabbling into using something to kind of help pull and draw with my intuition, draw out my intuition. So I had always been toying with it and playing with it in that way. When I was 16, some friends and I went to a local tarot reader, and she was like a Latina, like a grandma. She may have even been one of their grandmothers, but she actually had like a full-on like a tarot shop in Oakland, California, and it was like a little tiny shop with a little neon sign that says, you know, psychic, with the crystal picture, like the crystal ball. And I went in and she read my cards, and I thought at the time I was like on this path of like going to a college in San Francisco, and I was going to, do like some fashion journalism or something like that. And well, she predicted that I was going to be a young teen mother. Oh, Ella, where's Bishop?
I think he's in Daniel's room.
Can you look up on the table?
He's up there.
Oh, I guess I'm hearing things. Sorry, it's been a long day. I'm hearing things. So she predicted that I was going to be a young mother, a young teen mother. And in fact, I was. 5 days before I turned 18 is when I gave birth to my son, Dante, my oldest, who is now 20. And so I was like basically 18 when I had him. So I was like, whoa, that's a little trippy. And then I ran into a guy who would do he read palms. And so he would read my palm and he would teach me what to do. And he read Dante's palm and had some predictions about Dante that, interestingly enough, are coming true. And, so it was interesting that I was always kind of around and studying about tarot and studying about metaphysics, but it wasn't until, as far as actively using it for certain purposes, it wasn't until my early 30s. When I was 31, 32, I started getting into writing, and not just any kind of writing. I have a blog called abundantlifeinitiative.com, and it's about law, the theory about manifestation, change your life, change your thoughts, law of attraction type of deal. So it of course came to pass that yes, oracle decks would come into my life, but I would use them as prompts. I used them more as prompts, and I felt comfortable and quote unquote safe with oracle decks, because I was at that point, tarot, I had intimate moments with it where it was readings where it was predicting things that were whoa, okay. So I was okay, I'm kind of cool on that. So I thought, oh, well, oracle kind of dabbles in, and I'm only using it as writing prompts. Well, what happened was, and this goes into number 2, which is, how did you use it then for yourself and others. So I was using it more for like, not tarot, but more oracle, more for writing prompts, more for journal prompts and, you know, that vein of it. Then a couple of years ago, my son was nearly killed in an auto accident, and I witnessed it, and it was very traumatic. And he was in the hospital for a month, and I was like, okay, I just need quick guidance. I need like a friend, but someone I don't have to bother with explaining everything of what's going on. I just want to use my decks. So, but how I came to that was I was on Amazon looking up some books on crystals, because I've always been into crystals like my whole life. That's always been a constant theme going on. But then they were like, oh, you may like this. You may like this particular item since you're into this. And it was some oracle decks. And for the first time it dawned on me, I'm like, oh, I could actually consult these decks and like consult about questions about what to do next on this claim form, or, you know, about treatments that they were proposing, or about just dealing with my trauma and trying to be there for him and, like, you know, getting guidance. So I started using the tarot as a means of quick, like, counsel, and then also as a means of psychotherapy. And I had a therapist at that time, but it was very difficult to go and get therapy for myself. He was in ICU. He was in the intensive care unit. And so I slept there at night, and half the time I could not sleep. So I would study cards and I study meanings over and over and over again while he was, you know, in the hospital. So I used it for my own healing and my own, like, guidance. Let's see. How has your understanding of tarot changed since then? And if it has changed, why? Well, once it started having such profound results in my life, like, at first I was like just using oracle. And then I realized there was a lot of questions that oracles just could not answer. And that I had questions about how to navigate insurance settlements. Even though I had been in the insurance game for now it's like 20 years, but it was different to be in the situation of being like the claimant, being the person who is going through it. So I utilized the cards, and I went to a tarot deck and was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to try it out and let's go. And I never looked back. It was always something I consulted. My therapist at the time was like, this is good. She was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you consulting cards to help with journaling, to help with healing. And I wanted to help others heal the way it helped me heal, the way it helped me navigate this horrendous situation with my son's accident, and to help me navigate just regular everyday life. I mean, we started having powerful manifestations, and I can't even tell you, it was miracle upon miracle. And it really had a lot to do with me just surrendering to the gift that is tarot and just utilizing it to the most in my life. And then I started doing readings for others, and they were like, wow, you know, you really should just continue to do this. This is your thing. This is your calling. And every time I do a reading for others, it gave me something even more than what it was giving myself when I did readings for myself. I get so much more like spiritual nourishment when I'm channeling and I'm doing a reading for others than when I'm too much in my head when I do readings for myself now. Now I do wish to have reading, like have somebody do a reading for me. I feel like I can be objective, but I just get, the noise in my head is too much in my head for readings for myself, if that makes any sense. But when I'm doing readings for others, it just like clicks. It just flows. It just feels so much better to me, to my soul. It like stirs and scratches something inside my soul. And I'm grateful for that gift, to be able to do tarot and read for people and give them answers and inspire them to do something differently in their life. That just totally rocks my world. And that is different than when I was reintroduced and re-immersed into cards by way of my son's accident and by way of me just simply not having the time or the space to be able to be going to a counselor to talk about my issues. I felt empowered after using tarot in that way and using the oracle in that way. And so again, I just wanted to take my empowerment and then share it with others so others can be empowered in their life with whatever situation that they have come up. So yeah, it changed quite a bit. Now I pretty much exclusively do readings for others. And yeah, I consult the cards for myself often, but not like I'm doing this full-on spread and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do. Now I will do a full-on spread, like a year ahead spread. I might do that, or I might have a specific issue that comes up that I want to ask about. But more often than not, my reading is for doing it for others, which is completely different than where I began. Let's see. How do you use it now for yourself and others? And I pretty much answered that in the question before. Again, it's now my new business that I am pursuing, which is reading for others and doing tarot and oracle readings for others. That's what I do. I don't know how else to answer it. I do sometimes still go to it for writing prompts, or when I am even doing nonfiction pieces or fiction pieces that I'm working on, I will consult the cards like I used to, and how I felt safe. I have a very kind of heavy Christian background, and so sometimes I think there was like some shame or guilt associated with the fact that I really enjoyed cards and really enjoyed using, tapping into my intuition and my psychic abilities. But then now as I gotten older, I just don't care. And then especially after the auto accident, I really didn't care. And people left me alone. I mean, this was the kind of accident that was in the news and constantly in the news. And there's cameras in my face because it was high profile. This man was drunk, running from the California Highway Patrol, and struck my son as he's exiting my car, and we're going into my parents' house. So it happened in front of my parents' house. Both of my parents' nice vehicles were totaled. Their yard was demolished. The man nearly killed my son. I mean, it was just trauma, to the nth degree. It was crazy town. So I needed help, and I couldn't have made it through that time without consulting my cards. And so I have a deep connection. So when people attack tarot and call it evil, I call BS on that, because it's not evil. I was divinely led to tap into cards. Now, am I divinely led to go and collect all these different decks? Well, that's something entirely different. I am a deck collector. This is true. That's one of my questions here. How do you use now? I wasn't a deck collector before, but I collect decks. Yes, I'm a deck collector now. So that may not so much be, it's inspire to help others, but in a way it is. I'm keeping it in check. I have my different ways of keeping that in check, but I love decks. I get inspired by the artwork. I mean, here's the texture, for example. It's just gorgeous. And like the Dreams of Gaia, for example, was one of the decks that I really consulted during times of trouble, during like times of just, I don't know. I don't know. I love this deck so much, and I consulted it. I still consult it for writing prompts, believe it or not. And I also do readings for myself with it. And when I go on retreat, this is usually the deck that comes with me. And somehow I'm able to intuitively read with it. So, and then this is my newest little tarot baby. Well, I think the Santa Muerte is actually probably my newest, but this is like the second to newest. This is the Texture Tarot, and I love it. And I got it because I'm a collector, but I also got it because I need working decks, and I like lots of decks to choose from and pull from. But I think now I'm finally at a place where my deck collection is rounding on to a good number, a good solid 100. I think is where I'd like to be done. No more, no less. If I have to get more decks, it's now time to trade. So I have about 95, and I'm going to give myself 5 more, give space for 5 more decks in the next couple of years. Let's see how I do. Let's see how I do with that. But yeah, anyways, let's see. And why do you tarot? I tarot because I feel like I help others have some little realizations or sometimes some big realizations about what's going on in their life and in my own life if I'm reading for myself. And it feels good. It feels good to my soul. It is something that I don't see going away anytime soon. And I'm grateful for the community that it has brought to my world and to my life. I'm grateful for the experiences. I'm grateful for the abundance. I'm grateful for the guidance. I'm grateful for the keeping it real. I've had many a deck keep it real with me and help me work on some shadow stuff. So why do I tarot? Why do I not tarot? It would be now the question. Tarot is such a big part of my life every day. It's like, yeah, I cannot imagine tarot not being a part of it now or in my future. So anyways, you guys, I knew I was going to be rambly on this one, even though others have had shorter videos for the same tag. I knew it because I'm tired. I've been up all day since the early wee morning, and now I'm winding down. It's time to go to bed, and I wanted to hop on here and talk about why do I tarot. So I want to hear from you all. Why do you tarot? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you've done this tag as well, because I'm going to be watching it, especially when my vacation comes up. I'm going to finally catch up on all the missed videos that I have. I actually use that feature now, by the way, where you can save videos for. I didn't even think to do that, and now it's like a miracle worker. I save the videos that I want to watch, so I'll be keeping out a look for all of you. So much love, many blessings. Bye.